Hi, friends. This is Mr. Core reaching out. Hope all is well. Hope you guys are being safe at home and you're still practicing social distancing to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. On your screen, you see our Foursquare note tracker, which is what we've used in the classroom before. Our Foursquare note tracker helps us understand a story and keep track of our note taking while we're reading a story. Um, our Foursquare note tracker lets us know the genre, whether it's a fiction, a nonfiction, or a poetry text that we're going to be reading. It lets us know the setting, where does the story take place? The T, who are the talking characters within the story? The O, oops, we have a problem. What is the problem in the story? The R, how does the character respond to the problem? And the why, yes, there's going to be a solution. What is that final solution to the problem in the story? The next two areas we're going to be thinking about the central message, the theme, or the main idea of the entire story that we've read. And of course, we're writing checklists. What will we need to answer our prompt successfully? To get us started, our text that we're going to be listening to and reading is called Conquering Fair, an Ethiopian folktale. The discussion question: what is fair? When you think of the word fair, what comes to mind? What comes to your mind? I want you guys to think about that. Okay, for a minute. All right, your minute's up. I'm back. So, when it comes to what is fair, this is what I was thinking fair is. Fear is an unpleasant feeling or emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Some examples of fear that I listed are fear of large animals, fear of the dark, and fear of clowns. So these are some things that people could be afraid of, but you can also be very brave and overcome those fears in the end. All right. Once again, our read aloud is called Conquering Fear, an Ethiopian folktale. So, just by the word conquering, we already know it's something to overcome. And fear, we already have an idea that fear is a feeling or emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. And for folktale, a folk tale is going to be a fiction story. That's something that we learned in the classroom. So, right off the bat, we already know that we're going to be reading a fiction. All right, let's jump into our story. Once upon a time, in an Ethiopian village, there lived a boy who was so shy and fearful of the world around him that his family called him Miobe, frightened one. So, just right off the bat, we know that this story takes place in an Ethiopian village. And we already have our main character who is introduced to us. And his name means the frightened one, Miobe, the frightened one. Let's continue. Why do you call me that? The boy asked his grandfather. The old man laughed. Because you are afraid. The boy's grandmother, his mother, his father, and his neighbors said the same thing. Miobe pondered these words and decided he must find a way to conquer fear. So, when everyone was asleep, he packed a sack and set off into the world to find out what he feared and to conquer it. That night, he slept under the wide umbrella of sky and stared up at the darkness. Before drifting off, he whispered to himself, I see you, but I will conquer you, fear. At midnight, the wolves began to howl. The sound woke Mayobi, but instead of running away, he walked toward the sound, saying aloud, I will conquer you, fear. He walked until the sun began to rise, and he saw it when he saw its golden orb, he smiled with relief. for he had survived the first night. I am becoming brave, he said as he walked on. Soon he came to a village. For a moment he thought, I don't know these people at all. They might be unkind to a stranger. But he straightened up and walked into the village, saying aloud, I will conquer you, fear. He walked into the village square, and there he found the village elders gathered, muttering amongst themselves. As Miobe came near, they looked up and sneered. Who are you? I am traveling the world to become brave. The elders laughed. Fool, no one can find bravery where it doesn't exist. What do you mean? Miobe asked. The elders sighed unhappily. We are finished, said one old man. Our village is threatened by a monster up in the mountain. Miobe followed the man's gaze to the top of the mountain. See him there, the old man said. Miobe squinted. He did not want to insult the man, but he saw nothing there. Look, said another man. See, it has the head of a crocodile, a monstrous crocodile. And his body is as horrible as a hippopotamus, a gigantic hippopotamus. It's like a dragon, another man cried, with fire shooting from its snout. Now, Myobi began to see the monster. He began to see the smoke and fire, the wrinkled skin, the fiery eyes. I see, he said, but silently he promised himself he would not be afraid. So he walked away from the elders into the village proper. So I'm going to do a quick stop right here. Do you think Myobi is really seeing this monster that they all fear? Or is he just saying he sees the monster to agree and be polite with the elders? What do you think? Let's continue to see if Myobi really does see this monster. Everywhere people cowered. The little children hid inside, refusing to go to school. If the children go outside, the woman said, the monster will come down from the mountain and eat them. Everyone knows monsters eat children. The farmers hovered inside their doorways, hoes and rakes in hand. Outside their ho- outside their houses, outside their horses stood unharnessed. We cannot walk. We cannot work, they told Myobi. If we go into the fields, the monster will come down and get us. Myobi saw wandering goats, sheep, and cows out at the edge of the village. No one came to milk them or tend to them. No one planted crops. Few left their homes, preferring to hide inside. The monster is as big as 10 barges. They whispered amongst themselves as Myobi listened. The monster is going to destroy us. Finally, Myobi decided it was up to him to destroy the monster. I wish to conquer fear, he announced, and so I shall slay the monster. No, son, don't do it, the elders cried. You will die. Myobi shivered and his heart fluttered. But he was determined. I must conquer fear, he said, and he set off. At the base of the mountain, he looked up and felt a chill. The monster looked bigger and more fiercer than a dragon. Fiery, than any dragon. fiercer than a pack of wolves or a nest of snakes. He remembered the days when he had been afraid. He took one deep breath and began to climb. As he climbed, he looked up, but now he saw the monster seemed to be smaller. How peculiar, he said out loud. My eyes are deceiving me. He continued to climb. When he was halfway up, he looked again. He squinted, shielding his eyes, but the monster's eyes no longer seemed so fierce, and the flames no longer shot from its snout. The closer I got, the smaller he looked, Miobe said, puzzled. He continued to climb, though now he pulled his dagger from his sack so that he would be prepared. As he came around the bend in a path, he saw the summit before him. He gasped. The monster had disappeared. Miobe looked behind him. Surely the creature would sneak up from behind to attack. But when he turned, he saw nothing. He heard nothing. He held his breath. He looked left. He looked right. He continued to climb. At last he reached the summit, and all was empty and quiet. Nothing was there. Suddenly he heard a sound at his feet. He looked down and saw a little creature, a toad with wrinkled skin and round, frightened eyes. He bent down. Who are you? He asked. How did you become so small? The monster said nothing. So he cradled it in his hand and walked down the mountain. When he reached the village, the people cried, He's safe! And they surrounded him. Miobe held out his hand and showed them the tiny, wrinkled toad. This is the monster, he said. The end. All right, friends. So that was our read aloud for this story. I know I messed up a little bit, but it's all there, okay? Now, after the reading of the text, what I need for you guys to do is to complete your Foursquare at home. I want you guys to circle the genre, the setting, the talking characters, the O, oops, there's a problem, the R, response to problem, and the Y. Yes, there's a solution. All right? Your exit task is to one, complete your Foursquare graphic organizer, two, use your Foursquare graphic organizer to answer the following writing prompt. The prompt is, how did fear affect the characters in the story? Once again, your writing prompt, how did fear affect the characters in the story? Be sure to include a topic sentence, details from the text, and a conclusion. Please check your writing to make sure you use correct punctuation, spelling, and grammar. Your work should be organized. After the read aloud, you will be logging onto Teams, and under Teams, you will see the exit task for you to complete. Your Foursquare notes will be there for you to complete, along with the written portion. How did fear affect the characters in the story? If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via text or call. All right, friends, keep me posted. Bye.